episode 285.
You've got to throw some cold water on this situation. Start talking about nerd stuff.
You know, nerd culture is mainstream now, so when you use the word nerd derogatorily, it means you're the one that's out of the zeitgeist.
System activate.
This is NetHeads with Will Wilkins and Trent Hunsaker. It's a tech podcast. But we are a ton cooler than your typical geek, giving you the info you need to achieve mega nerd status. NetHeads.
You guys rock.
And now, here's Will and Trent.
No one listens to the radio. I wasn't even listening. I was listening to podcasts. Podcasts are great. Radio's boring.
Yeah, it is, everybody. Hi, welcome. Another edition of NetHeads. Last time I looked in the mirror or checked down my pants, my name is Will.
And I'm Trent.
You want to take part in the program, you can. One of many ways. One of them is Twitter. Trent, tell them how they do that.
Yeah, whether or not you are watching live or listening or watching afterwards, just use the hashtag NetHeads. Not unlike longtime friend of the program, Venator2000, tweeted us a couple of days ago, and I'm going to get back at him because there's some controversy that he tweeted out in my neck of the woods surrounding the new Deadpool, the Deadpool that's coming out.
Oh,
the Once Upon a Deadpool.
Yeah, that's it's funny you mention that. Everybody on the video is like, "What are those? What are those bedeets?" Little.
Oh, did that go through? Because a lot of times, sometimes I'll get stuff in that no one else does.
Oh yeah. It won't be on the podcast because we
Right.
do multi-channel recording. I can eliminate anyone and anything at any time. But that will be on the video forever because I fired up Skype, and even though I set the profile to do no noises at all ever, it of course just went kablooey. And it's playing audio, so I'm sure when we get phone calls, it's going to be like doot 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 or some obnoxious ring or whatever it does.
Yeah.
But anyway, I thought that was really interesting that they decided to do that. They said, "Hey, for the holidays, let's put out a PG-13 cut."
Yes.
And from what I understand, I don't know if it's just in the promo materials or if it's in relation to, like the trailer we've seen. Or if it's in relation to a whole new framing methodology they're using in order to be able to tell this story in a PG-13 fashion. Because naturally, there's some content they're just going to have to cut away from. Then they've got essentially Deadpool and Fred Savage recreating the book reading scenes from Princess Bride.
Right, yes.
Except in this case, instead of Fred Savage being a small child and sick, he is a grown adult, and he's been miseried to the bed. So it's interesting. I got to tell you, such a brazen double dip in an era where the super duper cut is on home video and everything. I think it's a ballsy move, but I got to admit, I think they're going to get my money, Trent. Just out of morbid curiosity.
Absolutely. It's funny because the promotional poster that they have is a direct riff off of Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saint commissioned picture or image, painting, I guess is a better term, that was commissioned by the church back in the 60s. And if you go into any church houses, is kind of a staple in, you'll see it around. Again, interesting because there was a big it went to I believe the state Supreme Court here in Utah because there's a law about not being able to serve alcohol with nudity in Utah, and one of Broovies, one of the pub house cinemas here, showed the film, and the alcohol commission fined them, and it went to court, and they ended up winning, saying it was an infringement on First Amendment. And so I didn't know if like when they released that poster, if that was kind of like, we got your back, guys, like a little nudge.
It did seem like a little bit of trolling, and you're talking about
totally.
Because the first Deadpool movie had a strip club scene, and so there is most definitely nudity in that film. I can't really remember any specific nudity in the new one, except maybe I don't know. Ryan Reynolds seems to like to drop trowel in those movies, but I don't recall anything
Hey,
there this
if
time.
if I looked as good as Ryan Reynolds, I would drop trow any chance I got.
You know, that's the thing. Any one of these guys, like Chris Hemsworth, Chris Evans, you know, even I'm surprised we're not seeing more and more of our good friend that plays Ant-Man.
The Paul Rudd.
Yeah, I'm surprised we don't see more of him because of what he has to do to get in shape for the Ant-Man role. Wow, you know, I'm sensing a segue now. Do we just kind of go into it and get rid of it at the head, Trent?
Segue.
Yeah, Paul Rudd, Ant-Man. I got to tell you guys, this past Friday, as I've complained about on the show before, with the Google News, a lot of it, there's always the For You section, and it tells me a lot about me, that it has essentially been just a constant weekly reminder of somebody's harebrained theory or potential spoiler, or as is the case with movies nowadays, toys that are creating spoilers. Everything has been Avengers 4 centric. So naturally I saw in that feed a lot of mentions and a lot of talk about, you know, oh, we're going to get a trailer soon. We're going to get a trailer soon. Look, man, if we had just gone to look in history, okay?
Right.
And because I have something a little close to the vest on this one, but it was around December 13th to 16th of 2017 when Kevin Smith and Jason Mewes were shooting a reaction video to the Avengers Infinity War trailer.
Infinity War, right, yeah.
And if nothing else, we know that Disney knows and Marvel know the formula. So we should have just known April movie, December trailer.
Yep,
The math was there right in front of us the whole time. But we did get the trailer drop, and we do actually know the title of the movie now, which, you know, they kept saying that the title wasn't being released because it would give away elements of the second film, but I don't think Endgame says anything to me.
No,
you know,
nor do I.
In realistic terms, as a chess term, it's the point where people start, well, I guess, okay, maybe this is where it comes in, because it is a part in the game where people start sacrificing key pieces in order to win the game, okay?
Right.
So maybe us knowing Endgame in advance would have clued us into what we now know through Marvel prequel comics as the decimation, as it's referred to for the MCU. Thanos' snap, the dusting. I think Nerdist came up with the best one, though. They called it the snappening.
Nice. Yeah, that's fun.
You know, especially if you're a fan by any chance of that movie, which I can't imagine you are. The Happening, that is. But I guess in the MCU, it's going to be referred to as the decimation, because there's some Avengers 4 prequel comics in the works, things that kind of tie into the movies. And in them, they're referring to it as the decimation, which seems to pretty much make sense. I think it's a good tone setter right there. But anyway, I guess knowing the title of Endgame, we would have known that some pieces get sacrificed. I guess it's also a little bit on the nose, even though Doctor Strange tells us we're in the Endgame now.
Right.
Moments before he gets dusted.
I mean, unless...
Oh, sorry, one moment.
This is
I'm on the wrong screen. Go ahead.
Unless they're afraid that... Gosh, I don't know that it's that, or not that they're afraid, but maybe, and this I don't think this is the case. I'm just trying to justify why they would have said that it could spoil the film, and that be that the end of the film might be setting up like a Secret Wars or a contest of champions where like everyone has to go and like fight each other in a game.
Yeah.
But that would be like Start Game or Ready Player One. Oh wait, no, that's already been taken.
Yeah, that one already happened. Which, by the way, I don't know if I ever mentioned it on the podcast, and I apologize if I'm reiterating something, but I have to tell you, when that movie came out and I saw it in the theaters, I was so connected to the literature, the literary version of Ready Player One, that the film I got, you know, in this day and age where we see so many adaptations that are true to form, I was originally kind of taken aback and maybe taken out of the element of the film because of those vast differences.
Yeah.
But I have to say, once it came to home video, and I then mentally associated it just as its own product and not really, derivative
Right, yeah.
of the work, but not
Totally.
recreative of it.
Yeah.
Actually, a lot of rewatchability factor in that movie.
Yeah, tangentially, it's not unlike it's a little bit more true to the source material than the Preacher television adaptation. I had reservations about watching the Preacher adaptation for so long until I finally dove in and blew through it, and it is so great because it lives as its own medium, separate from the comic book. You could not make the comic book into a TV series, right?
And bringing it back into the fold here, something Marvel has been conditioning us now with probably since, I would say, did Winter Soldier happen before Age of Ultron? No, it happened after, I believe. It was they brought down Hydra,
No,
so
it was second, I think. It was after. I don't remember.
Yeah,
believe. Yeah. Age of Ultron was first because Cap was with him. That's right. Yeah,
it's hard to keep track of. But what I'm saying is, though, that Marvel has done a wonderful job of setting us up for knowing and recognizing a title that we know and love, and it being something else. Civil
and
War,
doing something completely different. Yeah,
Civil War, for example, Age of Ultron as well.
totally. Yeah,
is a comic series title that is not truly derivative of the work that it came from. But anyway, all I'm saying is Marvel was setting us up for that. But bringing it back to Marvel, the trailer came out finally, and really it's kind of exactly the kind of trailer I wanted. And I've mentioned this before, Trent. We've seen so many shenanigans in Marvel trailers that I almost don't want to watch them to some degree now.
Yep. Yeah, because a couple of things are possible with these trailers. Like, one, you'll see a bunch of content that isn't in the film at all, or two, they just give it away.
Which, by the way, Wreck-It Ralph in the post-credit sequence deals with amazingly well. That's all I'll say about that. But we did get to see that movie really good. But staying on point, when it came to the trailer, it's kind of exactly what I would expect. It's a trailer that really conveys the exact same way we probably all felt at the end of the last movie.
Totally.
And it is dark and it is bleak as hell until that one moment. And I gotta say, every time that moment happens, I get goosebumps. So
you get a little chills, don't you?
If you guys haven't seen the trailer, we're not going to play it here. Okay, we're not going to do that. Actually, if you go to our Patreon page, patreon.com, I think it's NetHeads on Air. I have no idea. Go to netheadsonair.com. That's the easiest way to get to anything. It's kind of your gateway to the NetHeads lifestyle, if there even is one.
It's your Stargate.
Yeah,
into our realm.
There you are. So with that, we're not going to play it here, but I have to say the reveal of the title was good as well. I like I thought it was really harsh and painful and really effed up for them to show the Marvel. God damn it!
This.
I like it.
Mice drift
I blame
a little
Vector.
bit. Yeah,
I blame Vector.
I wish we could. Can't blame the robot. But they do a really good job of dusting the Marvel logo to just remind us again why we're so sad.
God. Yeah.
And I'm like, are they trolling themselves now? That's messed up. But everything we saw was good. They gave us a little tease of a darker Hawkeye, who in the comic is, which I'm sure anyone who would listen to this has heard ad nauseum, that oh my God, it's Ronin. Look, the only reason why I know Hawkeye is Ronin is because I think 6 or 8 months ago there may have been like a set leak of him in a costume that's very Ronin-esque, and I'm like, oh, what's Ronin? And I read about it.
Look it up. Yeah.
I'm not gonna front, folks. It's 100% real up here.
Yeah.
I'll be 100 with you.
Which is keeping it 100. Which is interesting though, because I mean, aside from the big misdirect that I will never forgive Joss Whedon for, with Hawkeye having a family on a farm, whatever. Hawkeye hasn't really been a huge player in really any of these, Marvel movies at all, right? And so I don't know if this is like
not to once again say if you're not listening to Smodcast, you're missing out. But if you didn't listen to MC Chris on Smodcast, there's even a brief moment where he's like, "Yeah, Hawkeye's one of my favorite characters," but like they just hate him in the movies, basically. And I think we all pretty much can just guess what that means. It's almost like they're kind of giving you a little payoff for the farm because he's probably dark and messed up because he's just chilling at the farm. Yep. Probably playing with the kids on the tractor, you know, that they asked Tony to go out and fix or what have you. And I'm calling it now. His entire family, dust. Gone. They're gone. Yeah. Call out the Roomba. They got picked up. They're out of there.
Okay, so speaking of Ronin, but a different Ronin, we also had the release of the Captain Marvel trailer. Very interesting because they're blending the mythologies of the Captain Marvel Kree soldier, white Kree soldier, and the Miss Marvel original character, kind of overlaying the mythology between the two to create the MCU Captain Marvel. But did you see Ronin, the Kree, is in that trailer as well?
Okay. Well, the thing is, I have to wonder if it really is Ronin or just somebody else, because you got to remember,
another zealot with the headdress and then the priests around him.
Yeah, because you know in the beginning of when our introduction to Ronin in Guardians of the Galaxy, you know, they refer to him as a religious zealot, and he's bitching about how his people have forgotten the old ways or what have you. So it could be that that's just very ceremonial garb. But I mean, look, I saw a headdress. I thought I saw like the hammer. Yeah. You know, the Ronin hammer of justice, whatever it's called, because I don't know unless it's Thor's hammer.
I really hope so, just because it's a great character. It's something that I think we can, as viewers, we're able to bridge that gap of suspension of belief very easily because we have these people in our lives, right? That you know, want a totalitarianism government based on their own values and not everyone else's. And you know, this is set in the future, so it's very possible with the Kree tie and everything. Anyway, I was sad to see him go in Guardians, and I hope we can see more of him through the set in the future. So it's very
quickly,
possible.
Meaning it was kind of upsetting to see him go when he just got here, kind of thing.
Yeah, kind of. I mean, same thing with Claw, right? Like that character, Andy Serkis, freaking just killed it. Like every time he's on the scene, I'm just like, give me more of this guy.
Yeah, and we only got 2 movies with him.
Yeah, and very little in the first, and you know, the Iron Man 3, and then you know he's gone in Panther.
Well, so let's roll it back a little bit. But yeah, I agree with you. The new, I think the one important thing that came out of the new Captain Marvel trailer, which dropped 1 to 2 weeks before the this one, was that they showing us just the true badassery involved, because she is in space blasting things without a ship, just fancy headdress, you know, the special helmet and all that jazz. But that's it. So we understand now how powerful she is, which is good. And at least they did clarify exactly why it's okay that Captain Marvel punched that old lady, right?
Oh, right, yeah, because she's a Skrull.
Yeah, all of us who went through the not Secret War, because that was them going to another was Secret Wars 2 about
Secret Invasion.
Oh, Secret Invasion. Thank you.
Yeah,
I knew it was something along those lines, but I got lost. So they at least let us know why that's okay. That because it turns out she's a Kree and or not a Kree, a Skrull, and it's nice to see them actually bringing the Skrulls in, considering the Chitauri
are so similar.
Yeah, and they were a misdirect in a way for us with the first Avengers movie.
Totally, and I mean, yeah, to the point where now the Chitauri have been brought into the comic book 616 universe. So there is room, I guess, you know, for continuity and canon for them to go back and forth.
You know, I never knew that it was Alex Denisov that was playing playing Thanos's basically mouthpiece in both Avengers and then I guess Guardians of the Galaxy as well, the first Avengers movie. And for those of you who don't know, he played Wesley on both Buffy the Vampire Slayer and Angel. among a brief stint with his wife Allison Hannigan on How I Met Your Mother. So the guy's familiar, but I was like, oh my god, that's who that was. Never knew. Sometimes it pays to actually read the credits and not just
read the credits.
And not just sit through them to get to the button on the end. So speaking of the button on the end, this trailer had a lot of good, powerful things in it and a lot of interesting imagery. Seeing Cap in more of his Winter Soldiers-ish stealth suit gear makes you wonder. It was nice seeing him still have the compass with Peggy's picture in it, Peggy Carter. And then seeing Cap cry as well, because that really, I think, sets the tone of how bad things are. If you don't mind my diverging for a minute, and folks, I'm really sorry if you're listening to this and you're like, well, Will, tell us about the cool new tech gadgets or something. That ain't going to happen for a little bit. I'm sorry. We're going to nerd out, and I'm sure, we are one podcast in a sea of podcasts of two guys talking about this trailer at length, but I'm taking it a step further.
Okay.
Because I want you to think about what kind of world we would live in if this happened. Because, mind you, it's supposed to be completely non-discriminatory. It was completely random. And so 50% of all living creatures, as it was described.
All sentient beings.
Which, by the way, I just got to throw a flag on the play there. Because...
That's me blowing my whistle.
Good job. Well, thank God it's your whistle this time.
Yeah. I'm not that flexible. I just had a hernia surgery. I can't get down there.
There you go. Well, I thought maybe it might have unlocked a secret power, and now you could. I don't know, man. Anyway. One of Thanos' biggest arguments is that the resources are finite, so everything's running out. So this completely random culling of 50% of all living creatures sounds good, but let's take Earth for example, where there aren't a lot of vegetarians and vegans versus people that eat meat. So if you've gotten rid now of half of the fish, half of the game stock, half of the livestock, and half of the people, where's the gain I'm missing here, Trent?
Well, do we know that the animals are gone too? Or
Black
is it
Widow
just
said all living creatures. So unless fish are dead and we're eating, I'm just saying.
I don't know.
But that just popped into my head now. But the other thing too, though, if you think about us living in a world where this happened, and it could be completely random, you have to realize, I think, a certain amount of structure would go away. There would be collapses of governments and normalcy to some degree until we got our shit back together. And
not to mention, speaking of religious zealousy, the believers, right? That would just say, well, this is God's will. This is the quickening of the second resurrection, and Christ is coming back. The righteous have ascended.
Yeah, the ascension happening.
Yeah.
But what is the well, let's not get into the actual Catholic or Christian term for it. But yeah, can you imagine though? Oh yeah, this happened, and they weren't ascending bodily into heaven. We know that. So, but you can still see them play out. It's like, hey guys, we're what's left. Which from that perspective would be even worse for me, because then that means now that we're in purge territory at all times, right? Because
totally.
We are the bad.
This Trump's America now.
We're the bad and law. Good play. But we're the bad and lawless that have been left behind. So this is our Sodom and Gomorrah now. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, at that point, right, nihilism becomes complete. Nothing matters anymore.
Yeah, exactly. Right? So you got to think about that. Which the reason why I'm getting at this is because there are some interesting things we see from this trailer. One of them is that like the Avengers area in upstate New York, things look a little not cared for, right?
Right.
So, but Black Widow isn't that much older, so it's sometime in the future, long enough for the grass to get off, the buildings to fade a little, things to have lost their sheen. So, that at least that shot is probably like 4 or 5 years in the future at least.
I would guess, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. But then the flip side is that also they end up showing us this button on the end of the trailer, the thing I haven't gotten to for a while now.
Yeah.
Where it's Scott Lang just showing up. Now, previous, they had showed people, they were showing images, and the words next to them were missing, which is interesting because first we see Scott Lang and Shuri, and then from Black Panther, you know, his sister, and then that's replaced by Peter Parker is missing. And I say this is interesting because, well, I don't know if the database is just indicating anybody that got dusted as being missing, or if these are Avenger records, because there are certain Avengers they know were dusted on spot.
Right.
But Shuri wasn't on the battlefield when it happened, so that could be a reason why they wouldn't know. So, you know, did she make it or did she? I don't know. Peter Parker did get dusted, but they wouldn't know because he was on Titan, right?
Yeah. Yeah, but you know, maybe, you know, he never came, or this is after Tony's come back and he's told them. No, or maybe after they received the message.
Nothing.
I don't know.
No, they're he's just being called as missing because he's not here.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, led me to
Tony should be on that list as well. Then
exactly, because they don't know what happened to him.
Yeah.
And then you get Scott Lang, who's missing because all of his known associates gone. I'm guessing.
Gone. Yeah, and we can't find him.
Yeah, because he was in the quantum realm.
Oh, dude, that was one of the best Easter eggs, I think, as far as like driving plot and getting you excited for the next film, or just whatever the next chapter in the story is. I thought that was masterfully done.
Well, and the thing that I don't think we may have realized, Trent, because we've seen this before as Easter eggs or the credit sequences that get played, like an actual scene from Winter Soldier was a tag on one of the other movies where they've got the Winter Soldier's arm in a gigantic clamp,
right? And
they're talking to him, you know, Falcon and Captain America. And so that's what I'm getting at is I wonder if we, although it is perfectly in context for Ant-Man and the Wasp for that scene to be there, but I wonder if we actually saw what'll be the pre-title sequence or part of it in Avengers Endgame. Because there's no guarantee people have seen that, which is the reason why if people didn't stay through Ant-Man and the Wasp, they may be wondering why it's so shocking that we get what we get, which is them. And I love this scene. Kevin broke it out best with the Spielberg stand-up of Cap coming into frame because and I love the way they cut this because it's all black. And then you just hear suddenly Scott Lang, you know, hey, it's me, Scott Lang. And then when the video comes up and we see it on the video on a monitor as well, they also include like a little activation sound there, like blink, it got pulled up.
Yeah.
But also, interestingly enough, in the frame, and this is the reason why I call shenanigans so many times.
Okay.
Because it does show that it's the archive up in the corner of the picture. It says archive. So is this a past recording or isn't it? But he says, is this a past recording? And then Black Widow says, it's the front door. So I'm assuming it just, archive just means that it's being archived actively.
Sure. Or is it a window on a window?
It could be, who knows?
Yeah.
We don't, look, man, we don't have the science.
Yeah.
But it's great because of a few things in that shot. First of all, previously we saw the grounds are not being kept up. And then in the Scott Lang shot, if it is the gate for the Avengers upstate New York campus, I don't know what they call it. I guess it would be Avengers headquarters. We could just call it that, right, in upstate New York.
Avengers mansion.
He is driving the van, which the last time we saw it had the quantum tunnel in it.
Yes.
Right? But better yet, you have to realize now, whatever this world is that people are living in, and there must be some form of normalcy because the streets in whatever Asian area that Ronan is killing people in are still, the signs are lit up. You know what I mean?
Yeah. My guess would be Madripoor.
Yeah. So there is some, continuity and I'm sure stabilization by this point. But for whatever reason, let's extrapolate a few things. One, Scott Lang has no direct way to contact the Avengers because he has, however he gets out of the quantum realm, he's able to get back to where the van is, and he has now driven that van cross country because that van, when we last saw it, was in San Francisco.
Correct.
And he has had to go all the way across country to the Avengers mansion. Sure, we'll call it that.
Yeah.
So he's had to do that. So no direct way to contact it. And obviously nobody, and mind you, even though they don't have Tony anymore, I imagine they still have access to technology.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
Actually, it's kind of interesting, though, because if you think about it, how many of the people that are left behind are outlaws, right?
Yeah, that's true.
They're like, after the snapping happened, they're like, Sokovia Accords, what? Don't care.
Well, yeah, again, like, nothing really matters at this point.
Exactly, because Cap is not in jail, too. He's just hanging out at Avengers HQ. At least, let's just make the assumption. So the van is there, which is interesting. Scott Lang is there, which from their perspective is interesting, because this is probably the first time someone that was missing has now popped up alive.
Right.
Because clearly they're not looking for missing people, or they may have gotten a facial recognition tag of him going cross country. The other interesting thing, though, and I don't know if you noticed this, the gate is heavily chained and padlocked.
Ooh.
So the Avengers, what's left of them may be there, but they're not open for business, and they're keeping people out.
Right, yeah.
Because not only do things not matter, but just things don't exist anymore. I don't know,
right.
Man. But I thought that was really really neat, and it was a good way to do that, kind of end on something that's giving both us hope and them hope, right? Because that's the important part. The heroes need to have hope. But some of the things, too, that we saw in there that I wasn't expecting, just a crying Captain America.
Ugh.
Didn't expect to get that.
Yeah.
This eternal beacon of hope and life. And his comment to Black Widow, it has to work because I don't know what I'll do if it doesn't.
Well, yeah, I mean the compass is an illusion, right? To him being the moral compass on Earth for the Avengers, right? He's the one that can kind of cut through all the BS and help everyone along the way.
At least you hope. But yeah, that's his role, that's his stance. I mean, that's kind of part of the reason why there was the whole Civil War conflict, because he's like, we can't be, and I don't mean this in a dickish way, but he's like, we can't be beholden to any government or entity. We, as these enhanced individuals, we need to kind of govern ourselves, because we don't want our power to be abused, and we don't want to not be able to act if we can, and we should. So it was kind of a double-edged sword there, but very moral values being established there. So I like everything we've seen. I can't wait to see how it all comes together. And I really hope, honestly speaking, I really hope we don't get much more in the way of trailers on this, because, like I said, the Infinity War trailer really kind of burned me with the, because we saw a charging Hulk in those ads.
Yep.
And I don't know, did we ever actually see that unified run sequence, or was that just a promotional material, something?
I think it was something they kind of cobbled together for the trailer.
Yeah, because it's a really good looking moment.
Yeah.
But then, and the other thing too, like there were little things. So like we never saw the Hulk, and then, like in the parts where Star-Lord is saying that their plan, he doesn't like it because it's bad and his is better. That I don't remember what they did. It may have just been blurring, or they just put up orange, looking like Rock or more desolate Titan. But for whatever reason, they blocked out Doctor Strange in the background doing his freaky timeline scrubbing.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, it was interesting the way they showed him doing it, because, like, mentally speaking, I just instantly associate it with an old school editing deck with some manual controllers, and you're just
like spinning it forward.
Yeah, like a jog wheel or whatever they call it.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yes, it's in like an Avid kiosk, just like going back and forth.
Yeah, exactly. So the trailer dropped. I think it looks great. I can't wait to see more, but I'm hesitant to see more. The more I want to see, I'll tell you what I want to see the more of, okay? And unfortunately, like, I think we can all already call it, because there may be some post-credit sequences, but one of them is going to be Carol Danvers wherever she is. She may be in silent contemplation. She may be in the middle of something, kicking more intergalactic ass or something.
Right.
And then it's going to be like beep, 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 beep. And she's going to look at the thing and go, pume.
Yep. And take off.
Right. And that's the one thing I predict it'll happen, and we'll see it at Captain Marvel. But, you know, I also want to see a little bit of this Avengers 4 world. I want to see a post-credit sequence clip with that.
Yeah, I mean, that could be a whole movie, right?
Yeah, and something that's canon and that they're not going to dick me on and change it around. That's when your supervillain teams start to emerge, right? Because there's you know, the chaos that's left afterwards, government scrambling to fill roles as everyone's missing, and these, you know, it gives a chance for these guys to come together. Mm-hmm. Definitely, and it's something that would be nice to see. But the other thing too that I really want to see come of all this is maybe just one more trailer with just a little bit more info, and that's it. You know,
yeah.
They don't. I think by now they should know that they don't really need to do paid advertisement for this movie.
Oh,
you know,
right.
You don't need to buy a Super Bowl spot. Although I think I just called when we'll see the next trailer, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
But with this movie, you don't need to buy a Super. You don't need to look. I'm telling you right now, you don't need to buy TV time in the weeks leading up to it. Okay.
If only they would have just taken the marketing money that they are going to put into this and actually put it into Solo.
Yeah. Right. Ooh.
And then release Solo on what might be the deadest Thanksgiving weekend in box office history, and released it on that weekend. Solo would have been a viable option. Thanks, Iger.
You know, it's funny you bring that up, because I still don't understand the logic of going in May the way they did instead of giving us a breather. Because I mean, they were already establishing and training us that December is when you get your Star Wars movie.
Yep.
And now, honestly, I got to tell you, I'm feeling the gap. I, you know, if it were dropping now, it would have been something to look forward to throughout the year, and I would have seen it, and then whatever way I felt about it, I would have then known, well, you know what? This time next year, I'll be walking out of a theater seeing the closure of the next of the current trilogy.
Yep, exactly. Right? Yeah, but instead, you know, 2 weeks after Infinity War comes out, they released the next chapter, and you know, Spielberg was not wrong when he published that op-ed a few years ago about how it's only really going to take one major financial box office flop to change the whole market, and really bring things to its knees, and that's kind of an example of that.
Yeah, well, and that's, you know, sadly, that's probably the same thing we're going to see when it comes to Marvel movies. You know, it's going to be,
for sure,
things will have finally been diluted, and, you know, they will have, much in the same way I'm saying, you don't need to buy the advertising. Somebody else is going to get all lackadaisical about it, and they're going to then not be in place where we need them, and they're not going to give the right funding, or it wasn't the right script, or they just pushed it through in order to get this, that, and the other thing. By the way, interesting side note, since Daredevil has been canceled and we've gotten like different bits of information here and there about this process, I seem to remember reading in an article, you remember one of my big complaints is, you know, guys, you don't need to have 13 episodes. You know, just tell the story.
Just make the episode to tell the story.
And I thought that was Netflix pushing that, but I think I read in an article somewhere it was Marvel wanting to adhere to 13 episodes, and probably for future marketability is my guess.
Yeah, or syndication elsewhere. Yeah, it's interesting, but also I got to thinking about it. We don't know what kind of contracts that they have for the distribution of those, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it would make sense that, say, like when it was made, you know, Marvel Studios made it through ABC and then distributed through Netflix, if they have a contract on that, to just cancel it and then start over completely new for something that you have the distribution rights with your own app when it's released.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, good point. Good point. And that way then you have certain user expectations as well. They're coming in looking for 13 episodes, so you got to give them 13 episodes.
Yeah, I think, you know, it's not unlike the Clerks animated series, right? that's wrapped up in contract interpretation of what home video means, right? And streaming didn't exist at the time. Now people are basing things off of distribution in any conceivable form, so that they don't get held hostage to any one area, I think.
Yep. I just hope. Well, Marvel has made it pretty clear that in all instances we're not going to see these people anymore. I just feel bad for Jessica Jones, who's probably got their next season in the can, and they're just basically waiting for it to air and then to get canceled as well.
Just sunk cost there, yeah.
But it's also really kind of shocking because I have to say this last season of Daredevil was probably better balanced than the first one.
Yes.
I mean, really, it's by far, for me, it was probably the best season.
Totally agree.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. It was balanced. It wasn't all talking and introspection. It wasn't all fighting. It even went back to some of the and it'd be interesting to look at who the directors and the DPs were on it, but back to the similar fight scenes. Remember that first long uncut fight scene we saw in Daredevil season 1? They brought that back into season 3. Which I think is just a very stylistic stamp on that series itself.
Well, they did actually have it in season 2 as well. It's just the hallway became the stairway.
The stairway, that's right. Yeah.
But with that one, it was definitely easier to see where they may have done in a first forced cuts, because it's like, well, suddenly I've spent way too long traversing and filling the frame with this guy's black back shirt. Well, his shirt, it's black, and I'm getting his entire back covering the frame is what I'm trying to say.
As it passes, right over the lens.
Exactly. Or as we like to call it, covering the cut.
Ooh.
Yeah, so it was shocking to see that they were canceled. But, I mean, I think after Luke Cage... Well, Iron Fist, I kind of saw it coming. Sure. And I have to admit, I wasn't too impressed with the second season of Luke Cage as well. But with Daredevil... Yeah?
Yeah, I really enjoyed it.
That's good, man. I'm glad you got more out of it than I did. I don't know.
Yeah.
It wasn't as I don't know. I just didn't appeal to me the same way the first season did. I don't know why.
Well, I mean, when you've got like the perfect casting and execution of Diamondback, oh my God, he just chewed up that scenery.
Mm-hmm. And plus, I don't know. It just kind of was weird to me to see that the season ends with him basically being in charge of the club.
Yeah, kind of assuming that role.
Yeah, but it was supposedly so he could keep an eye on everything and understand what's going down. But, eventually word just gets out. Don't talk about it at the club, man. Just,
right, yeah.
Duh. So, but anyway, I guess that's kind of, I don't know that we should really talk about anything else and related to this nerd. I mean, we're supposed to be a tech podcast, and we're supposed to talk about technology stuff,
Yes.
Supposed to get you all educated on the latest and greatest that come around. I don't know what it is with these damn teeth. Make me want to just go all redneck. I apologize.
It's okay.
Trays, they're fun. It's funny. I actually, not that anybody cares about this. So yeah, I've been going through Invisalign. It was like something had to be taken care of. So then they said, well, if you don't want to look like a freak, we can go corrective. So I did. So I've been dealing with lisping and all the other fun things that come with having extra stuff in your mouth. In this case, these Invisalign trays. And the week of Thanksgiving, I don't know what it was, but I just threw in the towel. I'm like, oh, I know what it was. I was supposed to switch. And when they switch, anyone who's had braces will hear this and go, well, yeah, dude, duh.
As it moves, yeah.
Yeah, so when you put it in a new tray, you're now forcing them into the new mold you want them to move to. So you're all at once, much in the same way that people's traditional braces were tightened, you're just slamming the tooth into the position you need it or trying to force it that way.
Right.
It's very uncomfortable, and it has, unlike braces, whenever I want to eat, I have to take these back out. So then you have to kind of relive that pain both on the way out and on the way back in. And I don't know what I was thinking. I was getting all wimpy or something. So for Thanksgiving week, I didn't switch when I did. I was wearing my trays, but I was wearing the old ones. So I delayed things by a week. And I realized that was just pointless, other than the fact that I wanted to be more comfortable when I was eating.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, as a kid, I remember there were times where I missed an appointment with the orthodontist, and he only came into our small town like once every 2 months. So that was a 4-month wait before I could have the next tightening or for my last tightening on my braces. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure you were real bummed to have missed that visit, right?
But in the end, it extended, the how long I had them on. I think I had braces for 3 years.
Yeah, and you can't really see it that well, but I'm really big on talking with my bottom teeth out, and like there was a gap here, and now there's just a tiny one. So although my mind cannot comprehend or understand, because for me, I think of it as it's a bone set in a bone. But when we deal with bones in real life, we're always seeing the end product, whether it's a cooked bone, a rib, or what have you from carcasses, and they're brittle, right? But real bones aren't that way. They're
so tough.
They're softer and a little more malleable, and I'm guessing that the same could be said of our mandibles and the like. But I still just can't fathom the fact that teeth are getting moved. So, like the socket gets pushed. Is that what's happening? I mean, I understand that's where the pain comes from.
Yeah,
I
right,
get
yeah,
it,
exactly.
Trent. And I don't mean to sound like a flat earthist who even with because I'm seeing the move.
Bones don't move.
Yeah, that's the thing. I just in my mind I don't comprehend it. Anyway, I don't know. I'm talking about the stupid trays and the fact that every once in a while I sound really stupid. Technology, tech talk. We got to talk about something tech. Personally, I haven't had a lot of technology exploration or improvement in my life, so I can't talk about anything firsthand. Other than the fact that I just had to upgrade to the unlimited Xfinity data plan for home.
There you go. Yep.
Because all
welcome
that
to the club.
I gotta say something. I really thought when we were cutting the cord, as it were, or moving away from using cable to get our entertainment, I really thought I would watch less television, and I'm unfortunately finding I think I'm watching more.
Yeah.
Because.
Yeah, I think because now there's more incentive to binge watch, maybe even now, where you're watching everything in a collection rather than week by week.
Well, case in point, I'm watching my favorite way to watch The Good Place now is on Hulu. I still record it. I'll watch it live if I can. I will record it and watch it on the DVR. But then I also love to watch it on Hulu because I think I have the Hulu Premium, so I don't have any commercials. I just get
it's so worth it. It's so worth the $11 a month.
And I have watched the last episode of The Good Place. Won't talk about it, but
okay, thank you.
The title is Janet's. I've watched that episode now probably about 6 times.
Holy shit!
I can't, and I can't tell you why. I don't have a logical reason. So for anybody that's waiting for me to deliver anything, say
because it's being back with your friends. That's this group that you love so much.
Yeah, it's and in a way, because I also did the same thing over the summer. I rewatched seasons 1 and 2 a lot. They were just like my go-to to have something playing while I'm doing something else or what have you. Much in the way that I suspect Infinity War has been for Kevin Smith. If you follow a link he posted to an IMDb interview, I think the count at that time was like 41 or 48 viewings of Infinity War.
Yep.
But those of us that have to work, sometimes the familiar is good to have in the background because it's just a constant sound that you can ignore. Where was I going with this? Oh, so I'm watching Janet's for like the 6th time. And then it says, oh, well, coming up next is My Name is Earl. I'm like, oh, man, I haven't seen that in forever. Next thing I know, I'm watching the pilot. Next thing I know, I'm at episode 6. What the hell happened?
Yeah,
well,
that's how I got into Superstore, which I now love. But I finished something and it was like up next, and it started playing Superstore. I'm like, damn, I can dig this. I see where this is going, and now it's something I do watch weekly.
Now the terrifying part, Trent, and this is the tech talk portion, part of it anyway. Now that this is one of those things where it's like, oh, look, that really fits well. But it's almost terrifying because you have to realize then that the reason why we're so easily able to get sucked into it is because we're falling right in with what the algorithm is predicting.
Totally.
There are every one of these companies. I don't care if you call Netflix a streaming service, you call them a studio or anything else. There is going to be a primary area, a division, a place that is going to be the analytics, and it's probably going to be five times as big as any other portion. Same thing at Amazon, same thing at Hulu, and everything else. They live and die by the analytics because they need us to stay a subscriber and stay on the service, and we're going to be getting what we're getting from them no matter what. We're going to take that. We're always going to have the volume as long as they hook our interest. So we're going to stick around if they can keep hooking our interest. So there's these massive algorithms or partner algorithms and algorithms that work within algorithms to predict what it is we want to watch. And because I had watched Janet's probably 3 times, and they're like, oh, well, maybe a Greg Garcia show would be up his alley. Let's throw My Name is Earl at him. And it's true. I mean, I enjoyed My Name is Earl when it was on the air. It's a damn shame it got canceled for the stupid reasons that it did.
What did it get canceled for?
I think it got picked up, and then there was a price dispute, and because it was a show that was on NBC but may have been produced by Fox or another company, like another studio, they just decided to fill the slot with something else. I mean, it was just no good reason for it to be canceled the way it was. Other than it was essentially, I think it boiled down to studio posturing. But good rewatchable show. Didn't realize how much I enjoyed it. And, if you ever watched Raising Hope as well, same show, same creator, a lot of the same sensibilities, and technically in the same universe.
Same universe, right? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, because in the pilot on the radio, they said, a man in such and such recently completed his list. It's like, oh, they're giving us the closure we never got. That was nice. Anyway. So we're fighting algorithms, and we see this now every day. Like, when is the last time you creepily maybe looked for something on Amazon, or you just happened to do a Google search on something, and now the advertisements are popping up everywhere?
Daily, man. Yeah.
Right? It's like, oh, and by the way, I don't need to keep seeing Vector ads because I've got Vector.
You've already got a Vector, folks.
Which, by the way, my wife asked me, she's like, I need a list from you. What do you want for Christmas? I'm like, take that. I'll put it back in the box. You can put it in any other box and wrap it. I'll be unwrapped, surprised.
Go right again.
Because I gotta stop getting myself all the crap I want all the time. And let's not reward that behavior by getting me more stuff.
Right.
But we keep seeing these algorithms now, and I guess that's the reason why artificial intelligence for some people is terrifying, because really there is a point now where our analytics, like right now, I'm sure, based simply on my viewing and internet habits, I'm sure there is probably an algorithm somewhere that could tell me the roundabout probability of when I would die, right?
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
They probably know what my interests are. They know the type of things they do. They know my activity level.
Totally.
So many things that could be predicted. So I wouldn't doubt that artificial intelligence in some way could be our greatest fear, because there could be then a point, if the algorithms can predict what you may do, then what happens if an artificial intelligence gets a hold of that and they start slowly moving the human race more and more to, following their robot masters? You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, totally.
We're talking about behavioral modification through algorithm, which I'm sure it could be probable. Now I'm just getting into nonsense, though. But Trent, you recently had an amazing purchase, didn't you, that we could share in the tech section?
Yes, dude, I'm telling you.
By
right
the way,
now, and
can't say tech section right now easily. Yeah. Sorry about that.
Yeah, and again, I am no fanboy. We are not compensated at all by Best Buy. However, currently right now they're doing the 20 days of doorbusters. So it used to just be, Black Friday, you got your doorbusters and that was that. Now they're doing daily doorbusters. You can just click on their site. It's pretty easy to get to. And what day was it? I believe Wednesday I believe it was Wednesday. Maybe Thursday, either or. They had something that I've been hunting for a while, or at least I've always been right now, and what I'd like to purchase. But there's never been a price point that really allowed me to jump into it. But I was able to pick up a WD Easy Store 10 terabyte external hard drive. The only downside is its only interface is a USB 3. There's no network interface for it, so I can't run it as its own like NAS or something like that. But I picked it up for the ridiculous price of $180, retailing now, if you look at it, $300.
Holy moly. That's definitely a doorbuster, ain't it?
Very, very cool. I was super stoked about it. I even looked, my roommate showed me online. It's pretty easy to shuck the casing if I wanted to install it into a network driver, a NAS device. So yeah, I've now got all my backup storage, all my media housed in one easy place. And man, I'm just saying, I don't know if there's going to be anything else that's appealing to you, but very cool. I was super stoked about it. I even looked at 20 days of Doorbusters. We're on day 9 now, and there's 6 hours left for the stuff that's on there. Totally cool. While I was there, though, it was funny. There was I was waiting in line to pick it up, and this little kid was buying a Vector. With his dad, and the salesman was selling the product, like in talking about it to them. But and he was very he's a very happy-go-lucky salesman, and was making the sale even though they were already purchasing it. And then they walked out the same time that I did, and the father was this kind of this rough cowboy type, and the kid goes, "Wow, he was really nice." And the dad didn't say anything, and then the kid goes, "But he sure talked a lot, didn't he?" And the dad goes, "Yep."
Yeah.
It reminded me of you, though, Will, just in that you also have a Vector, and he was talking about how, yeah, it'll do flips for you if you just ask it, tell it to flip, and this, that, and the other. Does your Vector do flips?
A little misrepresentation there, but I mean, it can do a wheelie off of its cube, but
okay.
Yeah, well, and I'm sure in that case, the dad was probably, like you said, I'm just assuming he was kind of cowboyed up, and he's just like,
totally.
He's just like, I can't believe I'm spending my money on this via blasted electronic thing. I don't want
Damn,
to.
son, I should be buying him a lariat so the boy can learn how to rope a sheep, for crying out loud.
Right? Yeah, exactly. Not the newfangled. I don't get this kid. I don't understand.
The boy ain't right, damn it.
Yeah, welcome to your kid wherever you are. Welcome to your new robotic cat. That's essentially what they are.
It will do what it wants.
It does. Well, that's the point, though. It's supposed to be, but it sometimes it is cool. Like there was one day the Echo Dot wasn't behaving well in my office, and I was able to just ask the robot what the weather was, and he gets cute little animations with his face for anything but the sun.
Yeah.
He'll get like if it's cloudy, clouds kind of rest over his eyes, and he shakes them off, and they dissipate. If it's raining, his raindrops are going on his screen face, and they're like doing drips on top of his eyes. It's lots of cute stuff. Sunshine, however, he loses his eyes and gets a big yellow sun. It's like, why didn't you guys make the eyes turn into a sun like everything else? But what do I know?
Yeah.
Oh, I like the way you reminded me of you, Will, and then you realize because you talk a lot, in the fact that you have a Vector.
Oh no, yeah.
So the salesman was a bit over enthusiastic, you say.
Well, it was funny because as I was walking around the store, I was back looking at the DS games, and apparently that's the spot in the store where they think no one shops, because he was a manager and he had brought an employee back there to chew him out because he wasn't doing. I don't know exactly what it was, but he wasn't marking down whatever's. And he was explaining to him that I need an objective way to track how many people you're interacting with, and this is the way we do it. And so you just need to make sure you're doing at least 4 an hour, and like was kind of chewing his ass. And then the flip side, oh yeah, this is such a great product, you're gonna love it so much. It does flips.
Was that the same guy?
Yeah, it was totally the same dude.
Oh man, brutal. But in Best Buy, they have to do that because that's one of those stores you can't walk around.
Yep.
And just like I'm just gonna get my shopping done and I'm gonna walk out. Like heaven forbid you want to look at the 4K displays or screens, because that's gonna be like there's gonna be your sugar there and Aunt, they're gonna be on your ass in a heartbeat.
Yep. Yeah, which is why when I go in, for most times you put the big over the ear headphones on, just to let everyone know that you are not there to speak to anyone.
I in no way wish to socially engage. I wish to just buy my shit and get out.
Yes, absolutely.
Unless a manager is chewing out an employee or a couple's having a fight somewhere in the store, I would love to listen to either one of those things.
Which may have been why they felt they were okay to converse, because I had big headphones on at the time.
Yeah, there you go. And I don't know about you. That's one of those things I just gravitate to no matter what. If any couple is having an argument in public, like earlier this week, I had to do a lot of traveling, so I was doing a lot of walking around airports. And, if I'm just ambling to the next place, I'll tell you right now, I'll just walk my way. But if I hear a couple is arguing, I will slowly move over.
Yep.
So I can follow that journey, just because it's fun and interesting to listen to.
Another tangentially, where my office is located on the university campus, it's on a top floor of a building. It's got a lot of private office rooms, which get co-opted a lot by student couples. And I don't know if this is just Utah culture, but there's a tendency for these couples to be not necessarily kissing, but very cuddly around my office. And recently I've just stopped caring, and so I just stare at them and I turn it into a staring contest to see if they'll notice me and then look away or not. As I walk by. I try really hard to get eye contact from someone sitting on someone else's lap, or someone with their head in their lap as they're petting their hair or whatever. It's my workplace, for crying out loud.
I understand completely, man. And the only thing that would make it even nicer if you had a natural tendency towards a lazy eye. I've discovered now that I've discovered in my 40s now, okay, that apparently I have just been working against whatever my genetics are. Because have I shown this on the show before? For those of you watching the video,
not that I know of.
Go to, if you're listening on the podcast, and you absolutely have to see this, whatever the minute mark is, it's going to be somewhere around. This is like an hour and 2 minutes. So, well, just look at your audio player. What am I doing?
Yeah.
But I actually do have an eye that would be lazy, but I apparently naturally fight against it.
Okay.
So here it goes. If you're watching the video, here's your creepy reward. There we go. I don't know if you can see that level. Let me take off my
just
glasses
kind of drift
as well.
off a little bit there. Yeah.
Right. And it can get worse and worse.
I never noticed that. Oh my god.
But I can focus with one eye on what I'm trying to look at which point then, imagine throwing this stare at them while they're walking by. Okay. That's enough of that.
Yeah, snap out of it, Wilkins.
Yeah, that's one of those things you discover, because it kept happening over and over as I would get tired in the day. I'm like, oh God, why is my eye doing that?
Yeah.
And then naturally I started realizing, oh, this is something I can control. Okay, well, this will be fun. So now, my wife wants to have a serious talk with me at the dinner table about something, and then suddenly it's just like...
Focus. Hey,
by
Wilkins,
the way,
hey,
gotta
stick
mention,
with me.
so far it's the only thing I've ever had that's made my daughter accidentally swear in front of me, Emily, because she said, stop. She told me one time, stop looking like an effing gecko.
Will,
yeah,
she's not wrong.
I agree completely. It's completely unsettling, isn't it? Just like if you're trying to have a serious conversation with me, and then suddenly it just kind of... I really hope this is pulled as one of the poster images for the video. It's now going to be, no matter what. I'm telling you all that now.
I just sent it to it, yeah.
Because everybody, I'm sure, loves this creepiness so much.
Oh, I freaking... no, it's stupid human tricks, folks, right here at
right?
NetHeads.
And everything mildly... But imagine throwing that at the couple, and I guarantee you, they will stop going there, Trent. They're like...
Oh,
because
without a
imagine
doubt.
you with the full beard and the eye.
I know, dude. Oh, amazing.
Yeah, they'd be like, nope, that spot's gone sour.
We're not on the third floor anymore, folks, or the fourth floor anymore.
It's just like Pet Cemetery. The soil has gone bad.
It's gone bad. The soil's gone bad.
Yeah, you don't want to go by there. Don't do that. sorry. I don't know why I brought that up. It's just it's completely unnerving and disgusting too. A lot of Christmas sales have been going on. I know people have noticed this. I get notices every day about one thing or the other. That's one of the things that pops up in my For You. So whatever I've done, I've shown I'm a compulsive shopper, I guess, or I'm sales may make me impulse buy, but I did spend money I shouldn't have on a refurbished Fire TV 4K, only because it's supposed to have bigger and better processors. Obviously, it would be better for the future. And my wife's most frequent complaint about the Fire TV stick, like when we load DirecTV now, she's like, "Well, it's DirecTV. I'm turning on now, but it will take its own time to load," kind of thing.
Oh,
so I was hoping that would expedite some of that. And that was the same price as a Fire TV stick at full retail.
Oh, nice.
So I got on that. But one thing I got to tell you too, though, Trent. I think it was last year or earlier this year. I picked up one of them digital pressure cookers. The Instant Pot is the most immediate brand name that you recognize.
Yes.
Which it's fine. But now it's always popping up in my stream too, because occasionally I will look up a recipe to use in it because,
sure,
one pot cooking, I'm all about it. And if there's anything, like if it's a slow cooker recipe that I can get done in a half an hour instead of an entire day,
yep,
I'll take advantage of it. But I guess I've done one too many searches. So now every time one of the sale items pop up, that
it's right there with you. Yeah.
I remember seeing.
I use mine all the time.
I remember seeing an article about it. It's like, please, I don't need to hear about your Instant Pot, because apparently this time of the year, Instant Pot owners are coming out of the woodwork trying to get everyone to buy an Instant Pot.
Well, because it's that very safe gift, right? That you can get, anyone that feels like it's going to be appreciated and used.
Yeah, exactly. It's some, well, and plus if it is something, because I've had one. Look, guys, it's a pressure cooker. There's nothing special about it other than convenience, and it's a pressure cooker. You can use it as a slow cooker apparently, or like it has a saute function as well, which is why you can brown your meat in there and then throw in all your other ingredients, and then like 30 minutes later you're eating dinner.
I do that all the time. I make a Brazilian black bean stew, and you put a lot of meat in there. So I'll throw the meat in first, let it brown, and grease the pan up, and then you throw all the other ingredients and pressure cook it. Yeah.
Well, and of course you are, because you're living life well that way, because now you have just set up lunch for the rest of the week, right?
So, yep, exactly.
Yeah, I think the last thing I made in mine was I did a quote unquote rotisserie chicken, so I cooked a whole chicken in there, right?
Oh, okay.
But that's great, because then once that's done as well, I can still save the carcass, throw it back into the same Instant Pot and now I'm going to sound like one of them budget cutters, but apparently, like anytime you cut vegetables, if it's something that would be good for making broth or stock or whatever you want to call it,
yep,
you just throw it in all your throwaways. So like the ends of your onions, the nasty part, the ends of the carrots and celery and all that. You throw them in a freezer bag, and then when it's come time to stock, just throw that in there.
So I purchased a juicer over the summer, and have seen some great benefits from actually getting an intake of vegetables and fruit now in my life.
Mm-hmm.
But it's one of those centrifuge. It uses a centrifuge to pull it out, so there's no pulp, right? But I've got all this leftover pulp. And so, the carrots, the cucumbers, all the vegetables and stuff. Yeah, that goes directly into my Brazilian bean stew.
There you go. Look at you maximizing. You smart.
Yeah.
By the way, after you got the juicer, and like if you talk to people about it, how many people were up your ass about needing to have the pulp and everything else?
Oh, that's my mother. That's my mother still tells me, well, son, you need to be having the fiber too. The juice is just sugar. So you need it. Okay. Thanks, Mom. Thank you. Okay.
It's just sugar and vitamins and the vitamins.
Yeah. And there's fiber in the juice too. Like I look at it this way. It's like, okay, I can either have like the juice without the pulp, or no vegetables in my diet at all.
Yeah. I think you're going the good route, man. Whatever
Thanks,
works.
Man.
Well, I one of the things I've been doing in trying to lose weight is coming up. I've been following. In case you haven't noticed, there might be some company affiliation with another company, and let's just say
sharing your initials.
Yeah, exactly. So I've been doing that, and for me, it's all about hacking and cheating the system. So with the Weight Watchers Freestyle, there are a certain number of foods that are considered free. They're point free.
There's no points to it. Yeah.
Exactly. Look, guys, here's the deal. You get an allocation of points, and through the day you drain those points. The idea is not to drain too many of them. Foods based on whatever it is have a point value. Free foods don't take away from the points you have.
Right.
So for the longest time, I was having every morning for breakfast and I'm sorry if this disgusts you all, but it's been an egg scramble that also has mushrooms and spinach in it. Very, very
good.
simple and easy, but yeah, it's tasty. And then I was looking for ways to stop either, losing spinach when I don't have them, or what have you, or just something easier. And they say frozen vegetables are okay because they're frozen at the peak of freshness, allegedly.
Right.
So I tried a few stir fries. So I was having some different scrambles, and yeah, it's not the best experience, but still, it's the same thing. It's free points. But let me tell you, having eggs with those first things I mentioned, not bad. You started introducing asparagus and stuff into there, and it just gets nutty.
Yeah, because I mean, like mushrooms and spinach have their own flavor, but don't affect the flavor to other things, right? Asparagus, you cook it with something, everything tastes like asparagus.
Yes, definitely. It's kind of like adding ketchup to anything.
Yep.
You're not trying to affect the flavor. You want to taste ketchup right now. That's what you want to taste.
Yep.
That's what you're looking for. Why are we talking about this? I don't remember.
I don't know.
Oh, well, it's just with the juice, that would actually have points, whereas you have the stuff with it, you wouldn't. But the whole point is it doesn't matter. It's whatever works for you, whatever you're enjoying. Right. We only get one shot at this, so I and that's one of the things that I think has been interesting. If you ever talk or have an opportunity to talk to Kevin Smith about his weight loss, he will say, well, I'm and his diet. It's all about, for him, staying alive, because he had the wake up call that some of us don't get in life. Right.
Yeah.
And some people have used it as a cautionary tale. We've seen people that have gone online and they've done something to say, well, after it happened to you, I went to my doctor and lo and behold, I had I was 80% blocked or that kind of thing. So we can take knowledge from those to apply them. Me, I haven't done so well. With the wake-up call. I have lost some weight this year, which is great, but, I, dietarily speaking, I kind of wane and I have peaks and valleys.
Yeah.
Some days I'm able to follow a program just fine. Other days, it's like I want all of the food, and I have to have it now. I don't understand, and that's the thing. I say I don't understand how people do it, but then, I guess if you have something like the prospect of termination of your life, that could be a great motivator, because look at what Kevin Smith has done. At the same point, too, I look at it, and really it makes me feel like, you know what, you're just not trying hard enough. Because when somebody you see is able to do it, look, it's just science. That's all it is. And you adhere to the formula, and it can work. But sometimes you don't want to live to the formula.
Well, it's hard because I don't know if you've ever heard of the term, the happiness trap, right? Happiness trap that you can fall into is, finding something that or engaging in something that gives you short-term happiness but long-term discomfort, right? So eating is like the perfect example of that.
By the way, Pete Messer on Facebook right now, he mentioned, and I hope you've been watching #NetHeads, because I sure should haven't. But he says the eye is not lazy; it just abides.
Yeah, exactly.
I'll take that. It does. Yeah. Well, you don't want to fall into a happiness trap, and you don't want to be a happiness pump either, right?
Totally. Yeah. Like there's it's not unlike drug seeking, right? Like you've always got to have that. I think fantastic book. If you haven't ever read it, check it out. The Happiness Trap. There's an illustrated version which is even better. But they talk about it, and they say like there's two things to living a rich, meaningful life. Not rich in the monetarily sense, but just engage in what you're doing mindfully. And then make sure whatever you're doing is meaningful.
I'm failing on both those fronts. But no, it's true. I mean, because a happiness trap is like, for me, having a peanut butter sandwich, not even jelly on it, man. Just peanut butter between 2 slices of bread.
I love it. That's one of my favorites.
Right? But I guarantee you, in the moment while I'm experiencing it, one, I'm not fully invested in it, which I should be, because maybe then it'll help satiate my craving.
Sure.
But I love the taste of peanut butter. I love the experience of eating it. But I guarantee you, 10 minutes after I've had that sandwich, there is nothing in the way I feel that is going to be good from having had it, right?
Sure. Right. Yeah.
So
yeah.
then, so then, what do I do? Then what do you do? Well, you have to now find something else that makes you happy to make that bad feeling go away.
Yep. Yeah. Exactly.
So now it's like, well, I guess I'll have some chocolate milk. Once again, you're not. The human condition just sucks. Let's face it.
Well, yeah. I mean, we're evolutionarily we're not programmed to see that far into the well-being of our self-preservation, right? Evolutionarily, we've developed to live right now and to make ourselves happy right now and to think about right now, because there could be a mastodon around the corner. We don't know.
Well, not to get too into it too, but at the time, that particular lifestyle probably matched in line with the nutritional availability as well. You know, we live. We are trapped in this horrible world of excess now, where we do, during most daytime jobs, except for people that are manual laborers, and God bless you because you keep everything moving. But, you know, I spend the majority of my time sitting down. I'm not up hunting and gathering and finding meat, finding grain, getting animal skins and standing and curing them so we have warmth and clothing. I'm not doing anything that we genetically were encoded to do or we evolved into to do. Totally. None of that's in play. Instead, I sit around all the time, and I can have a plethora of food choices that I want, whether they are good or not. You know, the metering function has to come into play, whereas at the genetic level, we probably didn't have that because it wasn't a concern, you know?
Yep, totally.
Especially when I'm sure the lifespan was probably more in line with about 40 years old, you know?
Oh, if you were lucky.
You know, and I'm sure in some cultures too, it's like if you were lucky enough to get to 60, they probably drowned you because by then you were changing so much they figured you had the devil in you or something.
Yep, totally. Yeah, you're weighing down the tribe at this point.
Yeah, exactly. Glub Glub can't keep up. Glub Glub gotta go. Right? I think I just found the episode title. Glub Glub gotta go.
Glub Glub gotta go.
Speaking of which, it's time to wrap this up. We're talking about nutrition and being lazy, which is so far off base from whatever we propose that this podcast is.
Agreed.
But you know, seriously, Trent, it's interesting, I think. The era we're in now, and this will be my last waxing philosophical moment, then really we will get the hell out the door. But it is interesting to be in the podcasting world that we are in now, considering that, you know, in the early days, you could have a podcast and you could probably easily acquire an audience because there wasn't so much. But there are we have to compete with so much now, and in an organized fashion in something like the iTunes directory.
Right.
That I hope people realize we do this because we enjoy it, because there's no other reason to now, right? Realistically speaking,
there's no incentive to compete.
Yeah, we are outclassed and outmatched, and like literally we are the very definition of what a podcast is that people don't want to listen to, because it's two guys sitting around talking about whatever, right?
Right.
Yeah, we should have really just titled it "Two Guys Sitting Around Talking About Whatever," but that is way too long to say.
And it's probably already taken up.
More than likely. You know. And sometimes I do see their podcast names too, and I'm like, oh, that one's got. I mean, ours actually, it's a good name. It's got a hook, so it could hit. Yeah. If we had anything of quality and a bigger following, maybe. I don't know though. Yeah. But anyway, my whole thing about that is I still hope it wouldn't dissuade people from doing it, because anything you do that's creative helps get your creative juices out, man. Totally. And you may think there's nothing creative about sitting down and talking, but it lends itself to a process that creates something along the way, and you'll find something new that you weren't even expecting. And you
Well, and it's and for me, it's a great social connection that I don't get in a lot of places.
There you go, right? You and I get to have a good, solid time talking about whatever it is we want to talk about. And by the way, too, it's nice to hear, amongst everything else, that our good friends at The Good Place got a season 4 pickup. So
Yes, I saw that.
especially since now, with the quote-unquote fall finale that they threw at us, which is episode 10, that means when we come back, there's only 3 more episodes because they do 13. They could go up to 16 contractually, but they only do 13.
Yeah, I was wondering about that, especially with this latest episode, the Janets. Granted, I haven't seen the whole thing, but they may have found a unique way to add an extra episode with certain contracts for people.
You know, it's funny you mention that. So with this week's episode, you know, just the most complex thing about it that you've probably already heard about is the fact that one of the actors on the show, Darcy Carden, who plays Janet, ends up playing almost every role on the show except Michael's. So Ted Danson's character, she plays those characters. That's all I'll say about it, other than the fact that, wow, I could just imagine. If you don't listen to the Good Place, the podcast, there's a great moment in it where she's describing how she's listening to reference material that's been made, like because the cast do a walkthrough of the episode as well, so that way she could hear how the characters would react, and she could then present that performance. And at one point, the gentleman that plays Chidi was walking down the street, I imagine in the studio, because where else are you going to see him walking around? And she was in her car, and she calls him over at the same moment that his voice is just blaring out of her car speakers, at which point he goes, "Oh, how cute. So you're going completely insane." Which I can only imagine, because, like, think about it. You are going to be emulating the characters that people know and love. So you have to do you have to act in a manner to where you're presenting that character. It was an amazing episode. So it was good to hear that they got a season 4 pickup, and we know that they're going to be continuing. Another thing that happened in the past 2 weeks, everyone's like, "I thought you said you were going." But I found this interesting because one of my favorite shows, and knowing what we know now, I'm not surprised that this happened. But the last season of Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., you may have written off the show or walked away from it sometime, but I have to tell you, there was, other than a rough part of the first season, subsequent seasons, it keeps getting better and better.
Yeah.
And this last season, the show was up against a reduced order count, I believe, and a reduced budget. And that's part of the reason why we got the season we did. It was actually very, I don't want to say bottle episode-ish, because they were mostly in like one station. So they built limited sets, and then they were using existing things like Quinjets and stuff. So and within that, they ended up coming up with a very amazing and creative season. And then it was great to hear that they got picked up for another 13 episodes, but then it was a bummer to hear that we weren't going to see them until summer of 2019. But then you got to realize, narratively speaking, it makes sense because they're in the same world as the MCU, and it's connected. So they've got to get past Infinity, well, in this case, they got to get past Endgame to be able to tell their stories again. Because if not, you know, how could they come back, like, let's say in the fall or in the spring, and it's like, here's Coulson and May, and the rest of the team is gone, or
it's gone, and we're not going to explain that, but
yeah, exactly. But they did such a great job with the last season. I'm not shocked to hear this happen. So we haven't even seen the new season. They've already been renewed again. So
nice.
I think the pickup was for season 6, and now season 7 they've been renewed for a 7th season as well.
Greenlit. Good.
And probably because they are such effective storytellers, and obviously it's turning things around so well. So that was a great pickup to hear too. And now that makes me remember one other thing I wanted to talk to. If you got to go, let me know, Trent. Just let me know. Okay.
No, I'm good.
But I was thinking about this. Oh, now I got to remember what it was, because I was thinking about that and the Avengers. So, well, never mind. Now I lost it. Oh well. Well, because I was talking about Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and how you can't really tell stories until you know how these stories have been told. Oh well, never mind. I lost it. It doesn't matter. It was more rhetorical bullshit anyway, right?
Sure.
More than likely, nothing of meaning or value. Just, two guys talking speculatively. Oh, never mind. Unfortunately, I remembered what it was. The resolution in Endgame, Trent. Narratively speaking, how do you think they're going to pull that off? Because there's one of two ways, I guess, that they do this. They bring back people, or they undo things, right?
Okay.
I feel from a narrative standpoint and from a keeping things sane kind of standpoint. By the way, is it wrong of me to hope that Aunt May got dusted? Only because you don't. Well,
because she's so sexy now.
no, because no, because like your nephew once again goes missing, and you can't hear from him, and you don't hear from him leading up to this, and then this event happens, and I'm just saying,
You don't want her to have to go through that and fall into the arms of J. Jonas and Jameson's father.
Yeah, plus everything that she went through, because that's one of the nice things I like that they alluded to in Homecoming, when he's just like, no, of course she doesn't. I couldn't put her through that after everything she's been through, and they're kind of acknowledging the Uncle Ben thing in there.
Yeah.
Anyway, no, I have a funny feeling. Sorry to throw in this Endgame speculation, folks. But I really have a firm belief that whatever the story is going to be, the only way to make it be a sane and non-existential crisis world is that you do have to somehow undo everything.
Yeah,
so in other words, the events of Infinity War, or at least the event of the snap, gets prevented. The only way to win this is to actually still stop Thanos from doing the snap.
Right.
Because, from a religious standpoint, from a self-identity standpoint, there are too many questions if you restore people. It's like, well, am I really Peter Parker, or am I just
an approximation created by this mystical gauntlet?
Exactly. You know what I mean? Am I Pillboy, or am I a manifestation of Pillboy in a void?
Right.
I'm just saying. Oh, sorry. Couldn't resist. So
Doug's your dad?
So I think that when it comes down to it, that's one of the things we're going to find is it has to be a complete undoing and prevention of that happening, because otherwise, you just, how do you go on in a world, well, first of all, where everyone was taken away and now they're suddenly back? Because then everyone's also going to question you. Well, you were gone. And in some cases, it's going to be like, I saw you vanish in front of me to nothing.
And the chaos of everyone disappearing, everyone reappearing would instigate that same chaos.
Yeah, exactly. So I just had to throw that out there. That's one of the things that, I really think that they have a horrible, horrible task at hand in trying to tell this story, in trying to resolve this story. I don't envy the Russo brothers and the writers at all, is what I'm saying, because really there are just too many ways that this could go where you create, ethical and self-identity problems. So it'll be interesting to see, though. Obviously, it's going to involve the quantum realm because Ant-Man comes back. It was nice, though, that they did have that they had that final moment of giving us hope, right? I wish we could provide that to people. Do we have anything we could? Okay. If you're a fan of NetHeads.
Okay.
I'm talking to you. Yes, you. You're the only one.
Okay. I'm listening.
No, not you. I'm now addressing the audience member.
Okay, my bad.
The people listening to this, or person, whatever it is, right? In the past, and we haven't coordinated on this, but we've done the Nagathon. So my question to you is, are we going to do the Nagathon again?
I think we probably should, don't you?
I would like to. So
yeah,
sometime within the calendar time left before Christmas, and I don't know what this means, but it's coming somehow, the 12 days of NetHeadsmas.
Ooh,
or
okay.
12 nights of NetHeadsmas.
Sure.
So 12 subsequent pieces of something tied together leading up to the holidays. And either the Nagathon is going to wrap that up or the Nagathon is going to be a part of it. One or the
Part of
other.
it, sure. Yeah.
But we'll definitely be doing that. And so if you want to go ahead and start stocking up for your beverages while you're listening, great. If not, I will be buying the one bottle of prepackaged alcoholic eggnog. So I will go full nog.
Sure.
Last year, you took a different approach. Trent, what was that? You were...
I'm getting the past 2 years blurred.
Well, I think last year was bottom shelf liquor that may have been infused with soda.
Yeah.
But then again, I remember you also had a separate container with ice in it, so that way you could refresh your drink.
So that was last year. I'll be honest, dude. I don't remember last year at all.
That's the sign of a good Nagathon.
Okay, good.
And the fact that you didn't catch your kitchen on fire afterwards is a better sign of a Nagathon.
Yes, yeah, because I don't know if either of these two Yahoo dogs would be able to wake me up in time.
Right? Sons of guns. Oh, by the way, how have things been going with Lurch?
Great. Just got him back from the groomer today. First time he had ever been groomed.
Mm-hmm.
So it took about 3 hours. But he smells so much better. He's a very happy dog.
Oh, it's good to hear, man. That's good to hear. Yes. So updates on this end. Things are progressing. As I've said before, the dog that we rescued is very skittish. Actually, since the last time we talked, the person that had the quote-unquote breeding business has now been to court, and then we've seen things from there. And it was not a misstatement in the past when it was said that she is a hoarder, because her living conditions, the pictures of the home we have seen, would be on hoarders.
Oh, my God. I
can
only imagine.
Which just does not lead you to good conclusions when it comes to caring for animals as well.
No, not at all, yeah.
But anyway, Rika himself he's doing better and better with each day, and we're seeing progress. You know, he's becoming a little bit more of a what we would call a people dog. You know, every single day. Still has very little to do with me. I'm still the most terrifying thing on God's earth to him. But you know what? We do what we can.
What time, man?
But he is fully I think my daughter Emily is his person now, because the dog's always up there with her.
Love it.
Yeah,
good.
and it's good that he has one person, and he is starting to do some things. Like when I got back, when I'm sitting on the couch, he may come over and sniff me to check me out. And we have to do what I call food baiting. So I will
you got to
chicken or something else, and basically I throw it in a path leading up to me, and then he may take something from my hand as well. I didn't understand why that worked. Apparently what it does internally, it makes them question the existing relationship they have established in their head. So they're like, if I'm scary but I want the food, okay, so I'm going to get the food. Oh, nothing happened when I got the food, so maybe I'm less scary. I don't know. But that's going on. But other than that, that's about it. We're trying to get rid of nocturnal behaviors from him, meaning he specifically wants to get up in the middle of the night.
Sure, totally.
Thankfully, my daughter's been all over that. But that's it. So that's the update. So Lurch is adjusting still well, enjoying his new life.
Totally, yeah. Yep, just doing great. We're just kicking along, teaching him to go to the bathroom in one specific spot outside and everything. So yeah, everything's great.
Perfect. I'm glad to hear that. Yeah, we've had a few accidents here and there, but that's because one thing you don't sometimes do is fully investigate the breed. And apparently these dogs, since they're used to living in a snowy climate, they are very fond of digging because they're used to setting up burrows for themselves.
Yeah, that's how they den. Yeah.
Yeah. So and we just redid the backyard, so it's been an interesting challenge.
Sure.
But so we've had to change. We used to have a doggy door, so it's like you could have full access, but now he has to be monitored when he's out there. So the doggy door is closed, which means if we don't know what his cues are that I need to go outside.
Yep, totally.
Yeah, so that's on us, man. Speaking of which, that's what I got to go handle now. It's going to be, that's the beauty and the glamorous lifestyle of a podcaster. You spend a little bit of time feeling like you're in show business, and then you have to go shampoo carpets and build a grocery list and go to the grocery store. So that's where I'm going to be for the rest of this day. But until next time, I thoroughly enjoy doing this. Hope you guys want to continue on. If you go to netheadsonair.com, you can find out about our Patreon. You can also use the Amazon link to do your Christmas shopping, and it helps us to upgrade equipment and do things within the program as well. Last year, the Amazon funds were used to purchase a push mower for Trent. So
For me, it was awesome. Still using it.
had
Well,
nothing-
not still because there's snow on the ground. But,
Yeah.
you know.
Which, by the way, that was really fun flying over your area coming home as well, because it's just like a
Seeing all
sea
the
of
white.
white. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a pretty thing sometimes up there in the sky. Other times
Pretty
it's
from a distance.
Yeah, other times it's unnerving when the emergency exit door is suddenly dripping water on you. You know, and it's like,
Whoa.
oh, that was a condensation thing, no big deal.
Sure.
But anyway, that's enough from us. We're rambling on. Until next time, folks. My name is Will.
I'm Trent.
You gotta throw some cold water on the
No.
situation.
And I'm trying to hit one over here, not one over there.
Sure.
We'll be back.
Soon.
This is NetHeads with Will Wilkins and Trent Hunsaker. Signing off.
I know, right? But stop being a little Nancy and deal with it.
NetHeads. We'll be back soon.
Goodbye.
This has been a production of Smodco Internet Radio. Sir, only at smodcast.com.
You want to know why podcasting is such a goddamn aggravating bit of business, Trent?
Why, Will?
Because sometimes, no matter what you do, there will be an audible hum or an electric mismatch or something that you just can't get rid of, right?
Can I say it? Yeah.
I mean, you can't avoid it. No matter what you do, it's there. And for 3 weeks, I was chasing the world's worst noise coming out of the audio send from my MacBook, right?
Okay.
And I realize now, getting back from my trip, it's gone. It's just gone now. Now it's gone. Whatever the problem was, now it's gone.
Usually, for me, when that happens, the bullet battery has died.
It's not what I meant at all. But okay. Oh, there's Vector Cam. Sorry. Anyway, I don't have anything else to close on other than that was interesting and frustrating. Are you in for the 12 days? Are you okay with that?
Let's do it. Let's do it.
I don't
Do
even.
it.
It could just be.
Let's do it. 12 it.
Yeah, there you go. You don't wait. Do you eat it or do you wear it? You both it. That
Yes.
was, from Pillboy. Sorry, I'm going away now. Say goodbye, Trent.
Goodbye, Trent.